Good morning and welcome to another video tutorial. Today what we're talking about is how to score artifacts on Via through Owlnet. That is to say, you've created an assignment on Via, you've placed it in Owlnet using the LTI code, and now you want to score those assignments in such a way that the results of that scoring will show up in Owlnet, so you'll fully integrate the two systems. So that's what we're going to talk about today. First things first, you want to ask yourself, what browser are you using? If you're using Internet Explorer, I'm sorry, you should try to find a different kind of browser. I personally like to use Mozilla Firefox. Other people like Google Chrome, but you want to find a different kind of browser than Internet Explorer if that's what you like, because it doesn't play very well with the other systems we're dealing with here. Once you've got your browser game squared away, you want to log on to Owlnet. And here we go. I've already opened up Owlnet and logged in to save us a little bit of time on this process. You're going to obviously have to log in. I'm going to take you to a class in which I have integrated a Via assignment so we can see what it's like to score that. If I go into my courses, my 308 creative writing course, they have a Via end of course project where they've created their own literary magazine and an editor's note. So I want to find that by going into coursework. Here I'll find all their assignments and the scores that I've given them over the course of the semester. So I'm looking for the Literary Magazine project, which I find right here. And I want to point out a couple things too. I have 3 students in this class. The student in the middle, I've already graded her assignment, so I scored that on Via and then the grade carried over. I'm going to go ahead now and grade another student's assignment so you can see how this works. So when I want to do this, when I want to score somebody's assignment that is on Via, I click this More tab, and I scroll down and I find this Launch Learning Tool. And this is the important part. This is how I get to Via to grade their assignments. So from More on the top there, I click Launch Learning Tool. It opens up Via, which again, I've already logged into Via to save us the time on this tutorial. Let's see if we can get this to communicate properly today. Here we go. So what we have here is we have the Literary Magazine project one more time. Here are the students. Here is Brittany's work, which I've already scored, as I told you. Now I'm going to score Julia's assignment right here. So I'm going to click on this Awaiting Assessment. Bum, 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 bum. So here we have the assignment description I posted. If I scroll down, I find an attachment, which is Julia's file that I'm going to look at today. I click on this little down arrow, open this up, and I'm able to review her work. She's created a magazine called Enigma Quarterly. This gives me a table of contents and the editor's note, which I'm interested in seeing. I reviewed this before I started this tutorial, so I already know what I think of her work. Now I want to talk about how I assess it. And you'll notice right here I've made a note to myself as much as to the students to remind myself I'll be assessing this using the English Program Objectives rubric for Objectives 1 and 4. So over here in the assessment panel I have my rubric. This is the English Program Objectives rubric that I opened by clicking this detail slot. And I already said to myself I don't care about 2 and 3, so this is criteria 2. I click not applicable. Criteria 3, NA as well. And then I go and I say, okay, which of these most carefully describes Julia's work? I thought she was okay. She was proficient as far as Objective 1. And she was, again, proficient on criteria 4. When I've decided where she is, I click Close. And you'll notice it's populated those fields over here. It tells me where I am. Overall, I thought Julia's work was worth about an 85. So I put in that score here, and then I give her some feedback. I'm going to show you something really quickly before I give feedback. If I'm working, I get called away, a student barges into my office, I have to stop. I click Save, and that saves my work. I can come back to it later. Oops, that's Brittany's. That's what you get for going too fast. Clicking the wrong button here. Go back. So, still awaiting assessment for Julia's here. Remember, I clicked Save. And this has saved the score and the rubric I filled out, but the feedback room is still empty. And I'm going to give some feedback here. The way you presented your arguments your aesthetic perspective. Julia's magazine was very interested in mystery. I too am interested in mystery. However, I found your editor's note lacked specifics about where you found mystery in the pieces you selected. I have it set right now where feedback requires 30 words of feedback. I might be a little bit short of that here, but we're going to try and see. When I'm done, when I fill out all the fields on this right-hand side assessment panel, I click Submit. We'll see if I have the 30 words I need. I do, so that's good. And I say to myself, this is great. I've scored this on Via. What's happening on Owlnet? And on Owlnet, if I click Reload, you should see that the grade has updated. Look at that. Julia's grade is now an 85. It's carried that over from Via Live Tech, so I have that going for me. And that is what we're trying to do. That's how we score things in Via. So, if you have any questions or are confused about this process, feel free to send me an email. I'm just matt.doobie@williamwoods.edu. Corey Thompson in UIT is our Owlnet and Via integration specialist. Send him an email if you have questions about something like that. If you have a higher level problem, if something with Via hangs or it won't work for you at all, feel free to contact Via directly. They are support@livetext.com. That is the tutorial for today. I hope that answers some of your questions about how to effectively use Via.